This is the Courier 13 podcast with Winter Andrews, a weekly think tank of in-depth conversations among rising filmmakers. My goal with this show is to showcase the innovative talent and ideas that Hollywood hasn't discovered yet. All right. Okay. We're going. Hey, what's up?
Hola.
It's super late right now. Well, it is late for me. It's past my bedtime. How are you doing?
Filmmakers never sleep. What are you talking about?
No, you're right. No, you're right. That was dumb of me to say. I shouldn't have said that on camera. That was just wrong of me. No. I feel like most of the show is just gonna be us like laughing at our own nonsense.
Of course.
But I'm so happy to have you on the show. People, I don't know, people don't know this, but the first time we met, you were my TA, Lauren. Yep. You were my teacher's assistant. That was how we first got to know each other. I have to ask you, just to start off with, was I a good student?
Oh, you were amazing. You were very patient. Oh, was that? I'm trying to think of it. Literally, was that the last quarter or semester at DePaul before the pandemic hit? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I ended up teaching one more after that. We had, I'm not going to say the student's name, but one of the students said that they had the state shut down and where her hometown was. So, yeah, that's how I remember. I'm like, yeah, you were so patient. We had so much stuff going on and people were going crazy.
No, that was right when things changed. I was like, I had a good quarter that quarter. I was feeling great. We were like, yes, we're going to take on the world. And then,
no, you're amazing.
Oh, man. Oh, that's so sweet.
Right, but no, I remember it so well because you were sitting not the first row, but the second row, because we were in the crappiest possible classroom for this particular course. And it was like everyone was trying to see the screen. Okay, wait. And you have these huge monitors.
And we're all like,
I would always see you slide to the side, and you're like, okay, wait. All right.
Yeah.
Again, just saying.
Yes, I think I'm understanding what's going on. Yeah. That class, that was fun. The actual lecture part of that class was really boring. That was done by another teacher. I did not enjoy that. I don't even remember the professor's name. It was like, I don't want to say it. Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to. Maybe he'll watch this, and I don't want to hurt his feelings, because he was a very knowledgeable. I'm sure he was a very nice man. I just didn't enjoy his lecturing. That's all it was.
No. Totally. I think most people, when you get into a lecture, you're kind of like, oh man, you're just gonna be talking to me for how long? Please tell me this is 30 minutes, not 3 hours.
Yeah.
This is really what I want. Everyone feels like that. Come on.
I've never met somebody who was like, man, you know what I love? Sitting down for long, copious amounts of time and having a 44-year-old man just tell me his thoughts about something. Because that's what a lecture, that's what that is. That's the whole thing.
You would think it would be more of a cooperative, engaging process, but I can understand why they're it's a lecture. You're literally being talked to and at about something, and you're like, wait, no, you're gonna keep going with that note.
Oh, you're not done? Oh, sorry. Yeah. There's always that. I mean, especially for someone who's awkward like me, there's always that you feel you want to throw your confidence out there and raise your hand, but then the teacher's like, totally gives you the signal like I'm not done speaking. I don't know why you thought this was appropriate to raise your hand, and they're just like, oh,
Right. Like, okay, now I'm gonna forget my question, and then you're gonna
yeah.
force, well, does anyone have anything they want to say? And
And
you're
then
like,
you're like, I did. It was there. Why did you? At the
right.
time I had it, man. The
Yes.
education system
Yeah.
is fucked. I'm just gonna say. I'm just. I'm just gonna. I know this isn't about that. This show is not about that at all. But that's. I think that's the conclusion that I'm
I
making.
will just say there could be some definite restructuring
Yes.
done to help thesis, like help and assist students of various, engagement levels. That's a huge one.
I
I
mean,
really started noticing that, especially now in that last quarter. Like I can only imagine because I don't even think I was taking a class, and if I was taking a class, it was like, oh well, teacher was super chill, and I'm fairly positive I might have taken a class, but still, like just hearing like students talk about it and just how they were dealing with all that was going on and trying to learn film, and especially when you're someone who's coming into film and being so hands-on and you're like, I'm sitting in front of this monitor, you're talking about this camera, but I can't touch the buttons, I can't see the screen. Is my internet connection even good enough to actually see the product that is genuinely being, sent to me?
right.
But
I mean that makes me
yeah,
think
that's
of
my
like
point.
at this like with this quarter, they were like everything's gonna be online, and I was like, and so they made my camera class online. They made advanced camera technologies online, and I did like the first session, and it literally was like we had a 15-minute Zoom conversation. He was just like, yeah, all the lectures are going to be posted online, and you'll get to watch videos of me handling the cameras. And then next quarter, God forbid, like next, the next time we can go to classes with people like together, then maybe you can test on them, having read all the manuals and have watched all the videos, and then we can get you certified. And then I was like, and I immediately the next hour dropped the class because I was like, what would be the point of me watching all of these videos, never
And trying
once
to,
touching a camera?
right, and trying to like keep that knowledge when you know for a fact new, frameware is going to come out, but at the same time too, you're like, well, I have to test after this, but I'm still taking how many other classes that I still have to retain that information and
Right.
then come in. No, I can understand that completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. I know DePaul is really like they're trying to push the idea, and this is happening with film schools. I mean, I've been hearing this with. I mean, it's worse for kids with like kids at Columbia. I was talking to a filmmaker, a film student at Columbia, who's a director, and the school won't even allow for like undergrads to like have shoots. Like they won't even unless like and well like they won't lend out the equipment or anything. With DePaul, it's kind of the same thing, but like with advanced cameras, you cannot rent those out unless you have special permissions by by the cage.
That's just, it's so hard. Like, I even think about it right now, just being a filmmaker and like having the experience that I have, but still being, green or like youthful in the industry, and then coming in right in the middle of everything changing and people who have been, seasoned in this for years, or even having to figure out how do I restructure my life as a filmmaker. And imagine just being, I feel as though, even though you're a student or people are students, like you're still filmmakers, but being a filmmaker who's like, okay, I'm avidly trying to learn this stuff. I'm going to school for this, and I can't put my hands on a piece of equipment that is going to pay my bills or even, make me go into debt, however you want to let your cards fly there. But like not being able to do that right now, it boggles me. It truly boggles me. And
Well,
being a freshman, oh, being a
oh
freshman
no.
going into college.
Oh, at least I know what it was like to not have this be a thing in college.
Right. That's my thought. Like I talk to, because I mentor a few girls that are going into college, and they were asking me like, well, what was your college experience like? I'm like, you want to know the truth? Because it's going to make you sad, because it was nothing like this. And when I say tried to get all my studying done during the weekday, and then Friday night, I was going buck wild with my friends. Saturday, buck wild. Sunday, recovery. And you try to just go back into it.
Friday.
And they're like, what do you mean going buck wild? I'm like, well, however you want to go about doing it, whatever, is your flavor. We did it. We're just like, hey, you want to go? And I went to school undergrad. I went to two places. I was a dual Division I athlete, so I went to school in Texas. We went mattress surfing in Texas because we were in the driest section, and we had the friends who had the pickup trucks, and then you have, of course, these like tie downs. So we're like, oh, we're gonna tie down a mattress, and they're just hearing me talk about this, like, oh, we're like in what are those little things in Zoom, like Zoom waiting rooms, but you can go talk in them, whatever they're called. I don't know.
They're what is it? Breakout rooms.
Yeah, breakout rooms. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we talk there. I'm like, no. I can see why my generation is so messed up. We were over here mattress surfing, doing all these crazy things. Like, we can't do breakout rooms.
Yeah, no. I mean, right now I feel like everything is so tamed.
It is. Oh,
Just
it's
life itself is tame. Like no one can do dumb shit unless they're just like by themselves at their house. It's not even not even an
right.
option.
It's just I can't fathom it. I really can't. Like my new hobby right now, and also before we started this, and I was telling you how I gotten this new piece of equipment. Not only did I get that, and knock on wood, I thank God, this is me not trying to like boast or anything, but my boyfriend ended up getting me a PS4 because we were starting to play video games, and he was like, "You need your own. Like, just go. We need to get you one." And he surprised me with it because I told him, I was like, "We shouldn't do Christmas gifts this year. We should really just try to give back and share." And for all the things that people are going without right now, I was like, I don't think we should do that. And he was agreeing with me, but he had surprised me with this. So I'm like, oh, I can play my video game now. I'm wild in the middle of a pandemic. I can go play online. Lie the other day, like what was it? 15-year-old. Can I cuss on this? I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, you can say fuck shit. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do whatever you want.
Okay. It was like a 15-year-old kicked my ass online. They kicked it. Playing this fat game, I was like, okay, maybe I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm in like the wrong thing right now.
Yeah, no. Honestly, you know what I do? I take walks at the park.
See,
But that's not like I wish I was into video games. I really do. For the reasons that you described. What?
I just started though, so I'm not I'm not good at it. But also part of the reason why I got into it was because VFX cinematography, and I was looking at some other jobs, and they were talking about how they need cinematographers for video games, and of course, because everyone's inside, I was like, man, the last time I played a video game, it was like Super Smash Brothers or
Classic.
like Yoshi World. I was like, okay,
yeah,
let me see what these current games are like. Wow.
Okay. So yeah, no. You just realized just how amazing these effects, like just how advanced video games are, right?
Right. So that was the big thing because that too, I was like, okay, I need to start watching some animes again just to see. Because again, people are always asking, well, I'm starting to notice some really odd cutting and like animation sometimes. And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. Why didn't you just go into a two? And then I'm seeing other animes that have been really, oh, people like them. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense in regards to how it would be done if you were doing a live person. So started watching those and started enjoying some. But those video games, I was like, how much time did it take for them to render that out?
Watching
Oh,
video games very like I'm ready for when virtual reality becomes that immersive.
right,
And
right. That does make me nervous though.
oh yeah, well, yeah, it makes you nervous. It's right, it's exciting and like anxious, like nerve-wracking.
Right,
Because like
right. I already get anxious right now playing that racing game. So I'm like, am I pressing the right buttons? And I was talking about getting one of those, like, what of those are VR. So when you're talking about virtual reality, I'm like, I totally understand that dad, like jumping and he runs into the TV
yeah.
with the headset on
Uh-huh.
and
Wait,
falls.
but this is a video. Wait, what is that?
So like you're talking about like virtual reality and when they become so immersive,
Yeah.
whatever headset he was doing, and I don't know what it was. Like people in his family and kids were
Is
watching from
this like a
behind
random
him.
dude? Is like this is just a random guy who did this?
Like those Instagram, TikTok videos.
Oh, okay.
I
Gotcha.
don't know who it was, but it was funny because you could see that he was on the edge of the cliff. However, he had walked because it's VR, so they're walking in place. But he didn't realize you didn't have to do the full like jump to get off of the building. Got
Oh,
full blown, really jumped, and he hit the TV.
oh.
And it's being recorded, and everyone's like, whoa. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, yeah. Well. I mean, what if they start like? I mean, I think this is probably how they would do it if because me and my friend Jimmy, who was on the podcast, we're talking about that. We were talking about VR and like how the only reason why VR isn't like immensely popular or as immensely as mainstream as like say film or video games or TV is one, the financial aspect of it, the accessibility for it economically, and two, like the actual like making it like something like the VR headsets are so like kind of like clanky and ugly a little bit, like to make them aesthetically pleasing and like light on your face. Like if they could just be sort of like a veil over your face. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Have I experienced any of that? No, but I
No,
do know what
exactly.
you mean.
Well, that they haven't got. That is probably going to take. It's going to take a while for that to happen. Not insanely long, but it's going to take some time, I think, for them to do that. But I think if you do that and you sort of make it like a theater experience, then people can go to like a VR theater house and they can go into this like dark room and have like almost their like private like theater, but they have all the space in the world to like jump around like and do whatever they want on their virtual headset.
I already know what movie I'd want to do. I already know.
What?
I already Jurassic Park
Oh,
World. I don't even
you have a
care.
Jurassic Park
Jurassic.
experience on a VR
Yes.
headset in a big room?
Yes.
Oh, yes,
Yes. I'm just saying.
yes.
That was the very first one. Like Die Hard. Jeff Goldblum has me like, if I could just run around behind him.
Jeff Gold. Oh, is that's interesting. I've never was Jeff Goldblum like at one time a sex icon or a sex symbol.
Probably. Like he was in The Fly, which freaked me out. He is good looking too. I'm not even gonna lie. He is. But like I just
until he
loved
turns into
him
the
in
fly. Yeah.
Jurassic Park World, all of that. And then like I'm just excited for the next one to come out.
Oh yeah, they are
I've
making
been like
another one.
waiting. Like I have a deep obsession of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. And probably because it's end of like I don't want to say end of the world, but like this evolution and like we the top of the food chain predators now become the prey. And it's like oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
No. That's
So what would yours be?
we'll see. Oh, me? Oh shit. Put me on the spot like that. Okay.
Of course.
The interviewer becomes the interviewee. Aha. I see. Fuck. I mean, I'd probably go with like I'd love to like have a lightsaber duel in Star Wars or
Mm,
something.
okay.
Or
Star
do
Wars?
like yeah, or do like something sci-fi. Even like if I did like Star Trek, like the Star Trek TV show, and like I could VR um on the original spaceship, like that would be cool, I think.
Oh
Oh, you
yeah.
know what? Damn, there's so many options. I mean, like you could do Lord of the Rings,
Oh yeah.
Lord of
That's
the
a good one.
Rings, or like Harry Potter. Actually, you know what? Final answer: Harry Potter. I would love
Oh
to have a wand and like fly in a broomstick. But how would you fly then? How would you feel? Like would they see now I've made this more complicated because you have the VR headset which can give you the illusion that you're flying from a visual sensory, like from your visuals. But would that be enough to convince yourself on a primal level that you are actually flying? Maybe.
maybe you'd be in a whole suit. You know what I mean?
Right. Maybe
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 you'd
for that VR thing you'd be in like a anti-gravity chamber. I don't
I'm
know.
down with that. Ooh, saying that now, I might want to do like a James Bond Mission Impossible because I just want to hear that music and then jump off. Be like,
So fucking dope.
and you see like, okay, can I catch this guy who actually has a parachute and not die and do a Tom Hanks here or Hanks? Wow, Tom Cruise. My bad, Tom.
Yeah, get your Toms right. Jesus.
Oh, but I do love Tom Hanks. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Both Toms are great. Not wait,
Yes.
didn't Sean Connery died recently, right?
R.I.P.
Were you like are you a fan of like the original Doctor No and like Goldfinger and that stuff?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's the same way I feel about Patrick Swayze. Like
Ooh.
that is just like there are a few people that I'm just like, okay. And just Keanu Reeves needs to keep going. He needs to go until he is at least 200 and like 97. Like that man right there. Now that's what I do. I'd go to the Matrix. There we go.
For the Matrix. Okay. John
I'd
Wick,
go
that'd
to
be pretty badass if you could be John Wick and you could just like just like
right.
fuck shit
The
up.
book thing and the pencil. Oh yeah.
Ugh, God damn it.
I've
That makes me
seen
want
them
to watch
all.
John Wick. Keanu Reeves really is. We don't talk about him a lot on this show. Actually, we never talked about Keanu Reeves on the show, but he is
Yes.
an icon. I mean, I mean, I don't know because he's both awful and great. Do you know what I'm saying? He's one of those actors, you know?
Right.
I
Like
mean, we've all seen what was that movie? Speed, with the one where he's on like a bus.
yes.
He's
The
not great
Sandra
in it.
Bullock.
Yeah, he's not great. He's not doing
Mhm.
a good job, but you're like, damn.
I love this
I
guy. Like
I
I
love this.
love
Yeah, I have this like I'm being drawn
that
in here, even though I know he's not really giving it to me how he should, but it's like it's still enough because he's Keanu Reeves.
um it's Keanu Reeves. I think the only movie I have to complain about like him would be Knock Knock.
I've never seen that. What is that?
Mm. It actually has, who is the female actress that was in Knives Out?
Uh,
Like the
Tony
lead
Collette
that
was
was
in
the
Knives
nurse. Why
Out.
do I want to say Anna something?
Oh, you're talking
She
about
was
the
in Knock Knock.
yeah, you're talking about the main female lead.
Yeah. So she was in Knock Knock, and I was like, but maybe it was also because it's Keanu Reeves, and I'm like, okay, are you kicking somebody's ass? Are you taking your shirt off? Is something gonna blow up? And only one of those happened, and he got his ass kicked, and I was like, I can't, I can't, you know.
I'm just wondering which one of those things actually happened.
In the movie, in that
Yeah,
one, he
yeah.
got his ass kicked, and his shirt came off.
Oh,
I
so
think
two.
it was he got his ass kicked. He's not
Oh,
kicking the ass. It
oh,
matters.
okay.
He
And
needs
that's
to
not
kick
that's
his
no fun.
ass.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that.
Right. It's just like Nicolas Cage. I'm not gonna say anything because we're gonna make it in this industry, so I don't want to talk shit on a podcast. But Nicolas Cage, I want you to be the old Nicolas Cage. Come back to us. That's all I gotta
Come
say.
back, come back.
Come back.
Yeah, yeah. He used to be. I mean, I'm sure he still is great. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's completely capable of it. But
I'm just gonna say that. That's all I gotta say. I
yeah,
just want all of them to come back.
yeah. I want the legend to return. Yes.
But
Well, I it's hard because I mean I'm thinking about like things have been difficult for me given being a filmmaker with this whole pandemic thing. But with you are a professional right now in the industry.
yeah,
What is okay? Well, I mean, what is that like? That's what like because you were talking about earlier like there are certain things, certain means of how you've had to adjust, and how people who have been in the industry forever have had to adjust. What are
yeah.
those? What are those things?
Well, first of all, it's just general health for sure. You know, with COVID and the length of time that you have to like stay out, as well as it being in general just on set, like having to take those breaks to then go get your body temperature checked, change your mask, make sure all of your equipment's wiped down. So all of that's like physically on set. But just I think and believe, and from what I've communicated with some other filmmakers who have even been in this longer than I have, just how you have to reevaluate things. Like, do I want to take this job? Because if I take this job and Lord forbid someone does have COVID and I was already committed to another job that was supposed to happen right after that, like you have to plan your schedule better and make sure that, okay, am I giving myself a 2 week break in time to where if I start even just having general flu symptoms, give my body time to recover before I go to that next job. But also I need to have at least 3 days prior to that job starting to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that aspect, but also these estranged relationships that some filmmakers have with their family members because they have been out on the road for so long. So I'm really trying to find that balance right now and just communicating with some of my friends who are very seasoned, just like, okay, how have you been managing in general? If this wasn't happening, how did you manage your life? Like, how did you find this? I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony because you always end up having to give something or take something. But
Mm.
like finding that harmony in your personal life as well as in your profession and what you love and your passion. And there are people who are like, my, you could say my husband or my wife is the primary parent. And I was gone for like 6 months. And all of a sudden I'm back home. And my spouse is having to tell me, okay, this is our schedule at home. And I'm already being, so shaken up by the fact that I'm not working like I usually am and I don't really have anything to do. but also I'm having to manage my kids' behavior and the fact that they're not used to me being around, but they're agitated because they're still trying to figure out school. So I'm sorry, I feel like I was talking a little bit more personal than I am with filmmaking, but filmmaking wise, I actually just directed for the first time a Zoom like video piece with do you know Desus and Mero?
No, I do not.
So they have a Showtime show, and I got to direct their little audio piece that then got spliced and posted to social media platform. But Desus was in, if you've ever heard, is it Bronx vs. the Vampires on
Yes.
Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy who owns the bodega. So I got
Okay.
to do that, but
Very
just
cool.
kind of like figuring out how do you communicate with someone but get them to still bring out that liveliness that they're so used to.
That
It's
was your
fascinating.
challenge to get them to,
Yeah, I mean, like it was very easy with them just because they are comedians and they're
right?
lively people in general. But imagine being a director who's so used to like being there in person with their actor, which you're a director, and you like, how do I block this out and say, okay, no, touch this? Imagine if you're touching this and your dog just died. You know what I mean? Just kind of giving that like remnants of memories. And then as a cinematographer saying, how does this like light work? It's blown out. How is it hitting my skin? Can you can you move that left?
Mhm.
No, my left, not your left. It's been interesting being a professional and working during a pandemic because again there are so many people who are so seasoned that are not working, but also I find it very beneficial that yourself and myself both have skills that we can use that aren't just our primary love of this industry. Like, you know how you love directing and I like love camera, but
Yeah.
you know how to operate a camera if you need to. There are
Right.
people who've been in this industry for so long that they don't know how to operate a camera, but they've only been directing, or they've only operated camera, but they have no clue how to edit.
Right.
Like imagine things like that, and you're like,
That's
your
scary.
primary income was that one profession that right now you're always concerned. I'd hate to say that, but concerned about when you step out. Am I bringing that home to my family? Am I just going to get it even though I might live alone, but I can't take the next job that could be bigger than this past job because money is so tight for some people? And they're like, well, I can only pay you half of what we normally pay you because things are slow. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been very eye-opening and humbling, as well as it's given me time to hone some skills that I never thought I was like, I was decent at it, but oh, that's gonna be paying my bills for the next couple months. Okay. I'll figure out how to produce. Danielle, I don't know how you're staying so calm and focused with this. And I'm like, oh. I like touching things and getting my hair in dirt that I didn't know where it came from, but it's there now. Like, I like doing that stuff. But I will, okay, let me post this budget today. No, did I license that image?
Well, there's a lot of things that I want to unpack there because you said a lot of profound things as you normally do. Um, I think I loved what I think that's so fair what you said about you shouldn't look to achieve balance, you should achieve harmony. You have to take something or you have to give away something. I had the pleasure and I was very lucky. I'm taking a show running class right now. Danielle's in that class too. And we had the pleasure of what's it, Stuart Lyons, the line producer for who did the first season of Breaking Bad and episodes of Better Call Saul.
Yes.
He zoomed in and kind of gave us a presentation, and it was funny because a student, a fellow student of mine, a fellow you know, contemporary, he asked Stuart, it does such a work balance, especially in television. Does a work balance life exist? And he was like, no, like straight up no. If you are, I mean, if you're an editor and if you're an agent, that might be a different story. But if you are in the realm of TV production or film production, like you are on the set, you are there doing it, you are making it. He said it's not, balance is not doable, but harmony, I think what you're getting at, which harmony and balance, those are two different things. Harmony, balance, when you're trying to reach a like balance, you're always like, okay, every element of my life has to be in equilibrium at all times. And when it isn't, you get frustrated. But harmony is almost like you have like this spiritual force field, like you have this like, you know, force field around yourself where you're like, okay, I know that I'm on steady ground right now. Things might be happening around me and I might have to sacrifice things here, I might have to overindulge here, but you know that it's not always going to feel okay all the time, but you're okay with that, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And to kind
um
of add to that, I would say check out the book. And it's not Eat Your Frog or Eat That Frog. I do love that book, but it's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I've heard of this,
And
I haven't read it.
it's
I
a really
should.
good book because it talks about how you have so few fucks to give that you need to like be picky about the fucks that you want to give and when you want to give them. And that's where I'm like, okay, there's harmony. Do I care about that? Should I care about that right now?
Do I have the energy and the time to give that fuck out?
Yes. Yeah.
Do I really have it?
Do I have it? And do I
Do
want
I
to
have
give
it?
it?
Do I
Do I
want to give
want
it?
it?
Is it worth giving it? You know, it's like one thing that I've been realizing, and I'm sure just by what you've been saying, I think you're realizing it right now too, or you probably already have realized this for a long time, but like you can't say yes to every opportunity. Otherwise, you will have no time to do anything well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And I'm
Like,
still having to swallow that frog and be
I
okay
was
with it.
swallowing that today. Like, I was just like, man, I said yes to too much shit. I promised too many things. And now I'm rushing through, like, I'm rushing through editing this podcast. The audio's not that great. Oh gosh, I uploaded. The audio's not that great. I had to take it down and then repost it because I'm like, that audio isn't great at the beginning and I can't stand for it. But and then I had all these other budgeting assignments and homework and stuff, and everything was crazy. And I was like, you were giving way too many fucks right now.
You
Too many
are.
fucks are being given.
And you could have said, Lauren, fuck off. Love you, girl, but can we do this tomorrow? Because I have these fucks that I have to take care of. You could have said that. I
I
just
could
want
have
to
said
say that
that.
in this
I could have
podcast.
said that. I didn't want to though. I didn't want to because I wanted to give this fuck. This fuck I wanted to give, and I thought it was
Okay.
worth giving.
Okay. I
There
just
were
want
some
to.
other fucks that I gave earlier in the day, earlier on, that I was like, I'm doing this, but should I have given it? Should I have given this fuck? I don't know.
That's what I thought today, too. Yeah. I literally gave that, but then at the same time, because you know how you and I text pretty regularly, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're supposed to have windows be put in." I'm
Yeah.
walking the dog outside, and I see that this van that has like the windows, They're finishing up at the condo next to us and they're supposed to be coming over. All of a sudden they like gingerly walk up to me and they're like, yeah, do you live here? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? I see that you guys are the window guys. Like, what's up? Oh, well, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but you're gonna have to wait again for another 3 weeks because the order was misread and your windows never came. And I'm like, so you're telling me today, as I look very sweet with my dog, that I gave a fuck about vacuuming and rearranging furniture for this? And you're not coming here for another 3 weeks.
That fuck. I had to give it. I had to give it away for this.
Right. And I could have been done with my pod over here. Maybe you and I could have done this sooner. I was like, but you know, I'm okay with giving that fuck because now I have a cleaner office and I vacuum the house. But that was like the formidable fuck that I did not want to give. But I was like, no, I'm working. I don't need to do that right now. My laundry's done, but it's not folded. But I can leave it in there. Yeah. So.
Do you think because we're filmmakers, we're even more sensitive about the fucks we give? Because think about like a set. You can't, as a director, you can't give away all your fucks all in one day. You know what I mean?
Very true. But at the same time, too, I think there's a finesse there of, and we all probably experience where like you have a filmmaker that you really enjoy watching them do the process. Because since we're talking about not giving or giving fucks, like there's a certain way to give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain way you talk to people. There's a certain way you go about doing it that makes it not only enjoyable for you and your process, as well as, you know, the process of when you're trying to figure out a solution for a problem. But like, there are people who are genuinely bad at dishing and giving, and how can I say, like taking fucks. They're not good at it. So I think as filmmakers, we have that empathy and sympathy there at a pretty high level of like care, but also about how you want to give it. This is like give a fuck.
Give a fuck, okay.
Yeah, just like give these fucks. Like, because there are people who are just like, you know, with my facial expression, I'm like,
yeah,
can I avoid you? And then there's other ones where you're like, how did you make time for that one? Oh, you did it so well. Or, oh, that was a horrible failure, but I appreciated that one. Like, it looked good.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that outcome, or I was expecting that outcome, but I was not going to stop you because it was like you were passionate about that fuck.
Right.
Like, I'm going to let you have it because you learned some type of lesson from it. Right.
And I think that it's kind of how you earn the respect. I mean, I'm speaking specifically from a director's point of view. I think that's how you win the respect of your crew sometimes.
Yeah, most definitely.
When you're when you're like, okay, I know we've had to change a couple of things. I know I've had to compromise on some stuff, but you know what? On this thing, I'm giving all the fucks. It has to be just like this. It has to be this shot. I'm banking my reputation on this moment right now, because in this shot or this moment, this actor's choice needs to be in this film. Like the film cannot be, or the episode of television cannot be that without it. And then the AD's like, man, we don't have any time for this shit. Why are you trying to give this fuck right now? And you're like, no, as a director, no, I'm giving this fuck. We got to give this fuck right now.
It's funny that you say, you know, assistant director, they're like, they give fucks early. Then they're like out of fucks because they're tired. And you're like, no, you knew that I was wanting this page. I needed this page. Not all of them, but you know how you come across them where you're like,
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, you're good. I was trying to
Oh,
hear what you were saying. What?
because I get it because they're the logistical people, and the day can't happen without the first AD making sure everyone's there and having all their stuff. So they're like, man, I made this day. He or she like, I made this day possible for you. Don't do this to me right now. I'm the reason why everyone's organized and here for you to make this happen. But then you as the director, in those situations where shit's about to hit the fan, you have to push the crew and the first AD and everyone even harder. And they're not going to always appreciate that. But you're not a director unless you stick to your guns in that way. I mean, you have to have that ability to reach into yourself and say, no, I can't succumb to the mob mentality of wanting to go to bed or breaking for lunch. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. And especially now, I think with a lot of us just working from home or like being more in the home base, it's like we have to kind of be our own, like, okay, cheer, all right, can I do this? Am I gonna continue this? Like usually in this moment, if I'm trying to cut this as like an editor, for instance, but you don't have the director in the back of your head, okay, like, how did he yell at me the last time? How did they yell at me to get this cut? Like, I want to stop. I'm kind of tired. I could just go get a pop. No, wait. Tim's gonna fuck me up. I need to get this. Okay, I need to cut this over. I need to cut this. Okay.
Well, that's kind of sad when you say it like that, because then now it seems like the director's a tyrant, which I don't.
No, you're not. You're not. It's just like.
Oh no, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about
oh,
director.
I mean, like in general.
I'm saying I think I don't subscribe to the notion that the director has to be a tyrant in those moments. I think that the director can, just be like, hey, we're not giving up on this right now. We're not. It's not happening.
Right, but it's like that finesse. But you tell yourself that, and like, okay, like, I mean, you can give one more. And I should say that to preface that people in the podcast yelling, I'm not always meaning just yelling, screaming, angry. I mean, just like, come on, we can do this. Can you give me one more? One more. You're like, okay. And then all of a sudden you pull it off and you're like, whoa, that was like the 50th one more I did. But that one was my like,
that was it.
Like you said, the make or break, cream of the crop. Let's go.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you had that moment yourself as a cinematographer? Have you had that moment where you were like, you did literally like 50 of them, and then the last one was actually the best one? Like you actually had to go through that process?
Yes. How was it? Actually, just the other day. So funny. Here, I forgot to mention that. So some people might take it as sad. I take it as happy because it just allowed me to reevaluate. But my contract ended with the political production firm, and I'm still just freelancing as is for them when they need it.
What I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Just so people, just so I know, and then people know, like what was that? Like a political, like did you make, what did you make while you were there? Yeah.
Oh, so I had been working with them and for them for 2 years. So I actually got like introduced to them maybe my first quarter of like graduate school. So I started working professionally in the industry with like no experience right off. And I started like being a production assistant, which then led me to TPing and being like a videographer and DP, director of photography, cinematographer for them for like some of their non-union like interviews, commercials, and stuff like that. Freelancing solely. So that was just like, hey, Lauren, are you free on this day? Could you come and do it? Right before the pandemic had hit, they ended up saying, hey, Lauren, we'd like to sign you as like a full-time employee, but have you on a contracted base salary-wise, and just you're clocking in and you're doing this work. But with it being a political production firm, the thing is, it's like they do these type of employment contracts during the political season. And since, the election day was just on November 3rd, mine ended. However, prior to that, I had already communicated and signed up to shoot a documentary for someone. So, talking about how I'm doing as a cinematographer and being like this rooting in my back of my head, like, can you do this? Can you keep doing this? With the political production firm, and tell me if I'm going too crazy, because I can get on tangents.
No, yeah, please, no. Continue,
Okay, so
please.
you're understanding this kind of thing right here?
Yes. I think I'm following. Yes.
Okay, you're following? Okay. So, and I should say this as words of wisdom always, you never want to leave a job without first bagging another job. And that's just like any person in any career. It doesn't matter if you're a filmmaker or not. But of course, you want to keep a steady flow of income coming in, and you want to keep progressing in your industry. However, with the pandemic having hit, and originally I came in on contract as like a cinematographer, they switched me over to be a producer, digital producer, thrown into the deep end. Like, I don't do this. I like talking to people. I took some producing classes, took a documentary producing class, but I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna take it because hey, it's paying the bills. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. And it goes back to you're just being multifaceted. I mean, not just in your skills, but in like what genre you're gonna work in.
Right. And I think people automatically want to say, oh, I'm doing TV, I'm doing, feature films, which is great. But until you can really get used to that pace and get that experience, you need to build up clientele, or at least get a good established base as a filmmaker in things like commercials and informative information. Like doing those, because there's so many nuances that you need to know in order to just get your consistency down in the products and in your style, if you're a style type of person. But back to me working for this political production firm, I ended up producing all of like their digital static ads. So those were like GIFs, pictures with graphics. I even ended up becoming like an associate producer and a co-producer for a couple national television and radio spots, which was great.
Oh,
But that's what I
were
did.
they like Biden or like Trump ads? Like, what were these?
Oh, so with this one, and I want to say this because I know people watch, and whatever side you're on politically wise, or wherever you are what you are, and that's fine.
Sure.
I don't want to be the judge or the jury. Treat me like a human. I treat you like a human. I'm going to say that. I just happen to work for a Democratic one. So we actually, and it was with AL Media Strategy, I'll say that, was a company I worked for. They helped with the Obama presidential campaign, I believe, but for sure Obama. They worked for a couple Clintons, like Clinton spots, I should say.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy hitting political, how can I say, organizations, campaigns. I ended up working with STACEY Abrams, which, if y'all know who STACEY Abrams is, and you've seen like the Georgia Fair Fight, Fair Count, stuff like that, I ended up getting to produce a couple of her things, digital wise, just being like the sole producer. On the TV radio side, I was like the co-and associate producer. But wow. She was in the most recent Amazon Prime. They were actually showing it at DePaul, that Democracy, Fighting for Democracy or something, Amazon Prime. I worked with her.
With who?
With the girl who's the woman. I shouldn't say girl. My apologies, STACEY Abrams.
You worked, so you met STACEY Abrams.
I full blown met her, and then I filmed a couple things of her and for the campaign.
That's really cool. What I know this has nothing to do with filmmaking, but I'm just curious since
I
you
agree.
met her. What was that like? What was it like meeting a politician?
Oh, meeting politicians. I even ended up, and this isn't trying to like toot my own horn, but this is just talking about like
I
how you
mean,
communicate with
this is
people.
pretty cool. So I feel like you can toot your own horn right now, but yeah.
Um, she was wonderful, honestly. And it's so interesting because you can tell when someone truly loves their career and the amount of time that they take in educating themselves and keeping themselves current on the, you know, current political trends, whatever you want to call it. But very knowledgeable, very intellectual. You know, dots her I's, crosses her T's, and she's like, no, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I need to do for the people. And if people, and I'm just saying, like your audience, if you don't know who Stacey Abrams is, she has been really a driving force for the state of Georgia, actually,
Mhm. She
for the
almost
important.
became the
Oh, go ahead.
governor. Sorry, well, I was
Hmm?
just saying she almost became the Georgia governor.
Yes. And then she
Right.
decided to quit. Or not quit, I shouldn't say quit. My apologies again, Stacey Abrams, but back out of that because of the importance of the lack of representation. And if there was representation there, they were taking that information out and not distributing it.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother thing. But we worked on some of those spots talking about the importance of being counted in the census, getting your vote out. If you don't know how, like, this is how you go, this is where you go. And I just have to say with AL Media, I love them and they were wonderful, but also with Stacey Abrams and her organization, they were very aware of the importance of saying, okay, we don't just need English, we need to do Spanish.
Hmm.
So whenever we were making a spot, it was like, you also had to have it in Spanish. Spanish subtitles, even if it might be like all this stuff. Like if you're doing it in English, you need to make another copy in Spanish.
It's
It
great.
didn't matter. Because she was like, there are people who are citizens, but they don't know lick of English. We
Hmm.
need their votes. We need them to be counted and just to better the communities. I felt like I went off on a tangent there.
No, I mean, that's fascinating to hear you say that because I mean, I guess I have such a, I don't trust many politicians, if any. Uh,
Right.
that's just my kind of viewpoint on politicians. And this goes, I mean, this isn't even, I mean, I don't trust Republican politicians. I don't trust a lot of Democratic politicians either, unfortunately. I hate to say it, I don't really trust the political system, which, like, I did vote, like, I will vote, but I don't, obviously, there are, a few candidates coming into the mainstream that I am excited about, but as far as like the establishments in both parties, I feel like they're just so out of touch with Americans. I think they act like they are in touch, and they're really not. And I mean, I think Stacey Abrams' story is really fascinating. I think what she has done and what she stands for is a very cool, amazing thing. And so, no disrespect to Stacey Abrams personally, it's nice to hear that she was genuine and seemed like she
Yeah.
cared.
Oh,
You know,
there's some that don't. And I've seen that part too where you're like, damn, she knows how to work that camera.
yeah,
And then as soon as they're like off camera, oh well, I'm gonna go sit over here and not talk to anyone. And I understand, like, hey, if you have a busy schedule and there's some things you have to need, like you need to get done, that you do them. But then there were some that were just like, oh, is it my? It's my time. I need to tell my story really quick. It needs to sound good. Okay, all right, thanks. Let me know when it's done cut so I can see, I can approve and go about my way. And I worked outside of, and I should also mention, like I've worked outside of AL Media
mm-hmm.
and like done other spots. And again, I also need to preface this: this was not at the same time as me actually being working for them because that's illegal now
No,
outside of this freelance.
good
But I've
thing.
seen that, and I'm just kind of like, ooh, I'm really glad I'm not in that district or that state with
Right.
that person.
What other big name politicians have you done work for, like ads for?
I can't say all of the politicians. I have to be honest there, just for the fact of contract, legal
Okay.
wise, because how races are. Like, there's this whole, you don't know if they'll be the same, client there with the same firm next year or in 2 years. But
Gotcha.
also, like, there's this weird legality and there's always legals in this. However, outside of that, like I told you this in class, I ended up getting to do a job for Under Armour. I was their gaffer
Yeah.
for a commercial, which was really cool because I was like, this is the first time I'm ever gaffing.
How did you get that job?
Kid you not. How did I get this job? This is a great topic. The importance of working with people and communicating with people outside of your department on a film set is so crucial. I got this job through the sound guy
For the sound.
that I
So
met on
you
a
were the
previous
sound person.
on a previous set.
So on a pre was it a student film or a
No. Mm-mm. I met this sound guy when I was being a production assistant, actually, for AL Media. So when I was first freelancing,
Mhm.
and he and I just clicked, and we were talking, and I was communicating about how, like, I really wanted to be in the camera department, and I could light, I could shoot, but I have to work my way up, and if they needed someone, then they had me, and I was like, please let me know. I always give my number out. You know how I am. I give my number out like a fucking prostitute. Like, here, you need it. Like, call me. I do.
I
This
mean,
is
yeah.
probably not. But he had ended up giving me a call saying, hey, Lauren, I gave your contact information to this agency. And I was like, oh, okay. Sure. Like, I'll do it. It was Mustache Agency, actually, in New York City. So they had called me and they're like, hey, Lauren, would you be free to come? And at first, just be like a production assistant, but we know that you have experience in all of these because we've heard about this. And I was like, well, sure, shit. Like, you're paying me much more than what I was normally getting paid as a production assistant. I'll come and do this. But I was looking down, and this is the important part too of people, like, take the time to read before you sign something, but also really take the time to read your call sheet and see what roles have been hired and what hadn't. Because I actually ended up seeing on this call sheet, I was like, there's not a fucking gaffer.
You need a gap.
They didn't have a gaffer.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, I think I can swing this, because this one was like non-union because it was social media, but they're still paying people at a really good rate of like union because they had the money, they had the time. And I'm like, well, shit, let me see if I can get this. I can swing it. Go on the set. And again, knock on wood, I thank God for all that I've been given. Sorry if I make people uncomfortable when I say that. But I walk on and I'm like talking to this photographer. He was actually talking about how, man, people keep asking me if I can do video, but I'm not used to that. I'm such a good photographer. Didn't know how to operate these lights. The DP was too busy trying to prep the shot with the athlete at the time. But again, he didn't really know how to operate these lights. I knew for damn sure that this producer didn't know how to operate these lights. And I was like, I know how to operate these lights. Could I just gaff this and change my role? 1 second. Hey, I'm seeing here on this call sheet, we don't have a gaffer. We don't have a single person lighting. Lauren, our production assistant, is the only one who knows how to do this. We're switching your role to gaffer. Is that okay? Yep. Lauren, you're gaffing this. Boom. I started like flicking fucking lights, getting this thing, putting up bounces, all this stuff. Came out beautiful. And I was just like, I can honestly say I got to gaff for Under Armour.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So there was that.
That's a great story. I mean,
yeah, sorry, it was super long.
No, all of these stories are fantastic. they all contain great nuggets of information.
Yeah.
That's I just love, and it's just such a great, that Under Armour story is such a great story of you seeing that, oh, not everything's been accounted for. Like, these guys are having problems, and I can be the remedy to this problem. Can I take initiative to solve this problem for them?
Right. And nothing against the producer for not seeing that or not noticing it. But that's also a prime example of how we need to find harmony. And then still having talked to her, and her and I are friends, um, she was just recalling, and she was like, man, I remembered I was producing like 5 different spots at the same time and with this particular Under Armour shoot, which I would have loved to have been able to, but they just at that time hadn't gotten the contract all together about, oh shoot, we could have just kept Lauren as this gaffer for all the shoots that we were doing in Texas and these different states because they were visiting different athletes. But she was just so overwhelmed that she was like, damn, I forgot about a gaffer. But now I know for the next show I need to have this. Like, this person wasn't there. And I was like, oh, well, I'm glad I was able to help you fine tune, your process. But to go back to your original question of all the people I've gotten to work with and all the opportunities that I've had, again, it was just me seizing the opportunity of learning and talking to people outside of my department. Because I hate to say this, but it's very cliquish at times in this industry. And if you have a skill that someone else doesn't possess, but they're already in the role that you want to be in, it's hard for them to be like, oh, do I want to suggest them in case I'm not available? Because that means that my slot when I come back might not be there because they might like this other person. I hate to say that. It's not always like that with people, but that Under Armour I got through a sound guy, the feature film that I got to be an intern on while I was in school, but I got to intern in every single department for like 2 months.
What was the feature?
Best thing in my life. I used to go here,
Chris
Ray.
Chris Ray.
Swan, is it Swanberg? Give me 1 second. I'm totally gonna Google. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, take. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Chris Swanberg. Her ex-husband was Joe Swanberg.
Okay.
She has done, or I should say, you might know Joe Swanberg because he was like with Easy, the show, Drinking Buddies.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, he's done loads of things. And so is she. But I got to get on her set, and that was through a sound guy. I freaking love sound department. Like, I'm telling you, people don't underrate sound department because they will have the first job. And they can still work there.
Sound people are, sometimes you meet shitty gaffers, shitty camera ops, shitty people. You never meet a shitty sound guy or sound girl.
You can't, and if you do, they get fired so quickly.
Yeah. And if you do, it's like, how did you get in here? How did this happen?
Right. So I ended up getting on that set first as a sound intern, and my friend Jesse McAlpin, who's like a brother, love him, was the sound guy head.
Yeah.
He tells me, he's like, Lauren, your ass is gonna be on this set. I'm like, okay, what is it?
He just
it's a feature film. You said you wanted to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. Because again, you know me, I give my phone number out like a prostitute. Yeah, I'll do it. And at that time, at the beginning, at the beginning, I was literally like, oh, calling in the sick at this dentist office that I love. But I was like, I can't come in. I have the flu or something. Like, I would go and like be shooting or being like a production assistant or gaffing.
Yeah.
And I come back and be like, okay. Like, yeah, everything's fine.
I was okay. Yeah, I overdid it. I overstated my sickness. It's fine. I did that so many times when I worked
right
desk job that I hated. so much
Right.
with a bleeding passion. Like just like I every time I went, that was when I learned that I couldn't do an office job.
Yes,
I
that
do
too.
not have
Oh,
what it takes to do it. I was depressed every day. I wanted to kill myself. I don't want to say that because there are
yeah, but you really just like you're going insane to such an extent that you're like, I'm not me and I'm not happy.
yeah,
And this is like a horrible me.
yeah. I was the worst. Every time I went behind that desk, I was the worst possible version of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt like mine was just like I feel like I'm a pretty mellow person, but I can get excited and I'm like a very bubbly, cheery person, but that was just like anxiety. And I, especially at that time, did not know how to like sparsely give my fucks. We should
Right.
name this episode Giving Fucks. Just saying.
I haven't, with the episodes, I haven't been really giving them like specific names. I've just been like Courier 13 podcast. Have you watched any of the episodes? I might be putting you on the spot right now. Have you watched any?
I cannot tell a lie.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's totally cool.
it's because I can't even find the darn thing. Could find the first link you see. I'm gonna
uh,
look it up.
it's on well, it's on my Instagram page and the Courier 13 podcast Instagram page links to the YouTube channel.
I like all your posts though. You can't say that.
That is true.
I
You
like
always
them
like
all.
all the
Okay,
posts.
I'm supportive.
I know. You're a good friend. That's thank
I'm
you.
sorry, everyone. I'll watch them. Bring me back, okay? Don't
No, this has been awesome so
I'll
far. So
watch it.
as long as the second half is as good as the first half. Joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. It's a joke. What was I even talking about?
I don't
Crap.
remember. We were talking about sound guys.
Well, no, we were past sound guys. We are made
See?
great.
Oh, like this being a good person and enjoying it and sparsely giving fucks. You don't name the podcast. Boom. There we go.
Yes, but yeah, I don't name the podcast, but I do think we should name this podcast like how to give your fucks, like or like fucks to give or something like that. I'll think of a better title.
Yes.
But I guess well, what I'd like to talk to you about is your own because we have only just begun. I mean, I've known you, I knew you as my TA, but we've only just begun to collaborate on a project, and that's with
Mm-hmm.
the web series that
Mm-hmm.
we're in pre-production for. And I I remember I was talking to Danielle about getting TPs, and I was like, yeah, and we were like, yeah, we know we really need a great TP. I really want to have someone awesome, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna probably be a long shot, but we should ask Lauren if we could get her. Like that'd be. I thought you'd probably say no, but we should at least try, right? So then we sent you the first episode, and we hadn't talked since class ended, like
Mm-hmm.
since the pandemic started. We hadn't talked in a few months, good darn amount of time. And you dug the pilot, and then we had our first meeting, and I just and I knew this about you already from my time as your student. It's so weird that I was like your student technically. That's kind of
Ooh, call me sensei.
yeah, a little bit like kind of yeah, we're kind of having that dynamic here. um, but I knew that you had such a great way of like when you're collaborating, when you're talking about composing shots, you have such a you're just very good at it. I like the way that you talk about your work and your approach. Like, and I remember when we were talking in our conversation with Niobe, and we were just talking about like initial ideas and what you got from the pilot and how I saw things. I felt like we immediately clicked on how we talked about it, and I feel like we got to the core of it pretty quickly, and that was such an energizing and amazing conversation. I guess what I'm asking is what was your point of view of that conversation and how because you have a very distinct style and a very distinct way of talking about composing images?
Oh,
Where do you think that comes from? Like, I know I'm asking a very abstract question, but like, I'm basically asking, what is your approach when talking to a collaborator?
oh. Well, I've always said over and over how I don't say that I shoot a particular style. I feel like I need to shoot everything and anything because, again, there are so many facets and skills that you can learn from different type of styles, like documentary, horror, comedy, series, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different types of shooting that can be done that can be utilized in the next spot. But specifically about this, like this product, this piece that I'm working on with you.
Niobe, just so people know that it's a web
Of
series.
course I know it's Niobe.
No, I'm saying for the people.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
It's
People
just so they're just like, what is
say
it? What are they even talking about?
you should have been paying attention this whole fucking time. That's all I gotta say. If you don't know the name by now, but to go back to my politeness, with with this particular piece,
Yeah.
I truly enjoy having a collaboration where there's this, it's kind of like the ocean where it's this give and take and there's this wash away, but then there's just remnants of something left. But then before you can, try to pick it up, and I hate to say that, but like before you can pick it up, there's this another wash that comes over that it's like, oh wait, let me cleanse myself of that thought. Let me cleanse myself of this moment because there's more to come.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this rhythm about this continuous give and take artistically with my director, with you, and just saying, okay, like, what are you thinking of this? You don't like it? Okay, that's fine, because just like the waves in the ocean, it's not always going to be beautiful. It's not always going to be these bright blue skies and the sun. Like, no, there's going to be some clouds, there's going to be some thunder, but all of a sudden it's going to settle and it's just going to be that beautiful noise that we're all so used to with the ocean. And I feel like that's my style. That's the way I enjoy collaborating with my directors. But not only that, like our conversation earlier, how I've been able to bounce within other departments. I've gotten the opportunity to really see how, in order for me to best provide the product that my director wants, that my audience wants, I need to collaborate. I need to talk. I need to listen to these other departments on what they need, because I might not notice that the toaster no, what was it? The bread box. There we go. The bread box we're wanting has a certain sheen that might be just that perfect pop of light or that skim that I need in this moment. And I truly want to emphasize on the importance of, it's not always about making the most beautiful shots, but it's what the audience can relate to emotionally. That's ultimately all that I want to provide, because it's the emotional things that remind the audience of my piece later.
Right.
So that's really how I like to cultivate my collaborations, on just really, talking to my director, talking to you about, hey, like, I need to make this emotionally captivating. And that yearning of like, okay, this episode's over, but I want to leave the audience hearts like aching, because they're like, well, damn, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had me here. And that, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to talk about the fine details other than the bread box, but like,
right.
Did he really just leave us like that?
Yeah.
Did that really just happen? And then you just, this abrupt like exhale of breath, and you're like, wait, I can't catch it. Like, I can't breathe back in. I can't inhale. Like, okay. That's how I feel like my style is with collaborating. And I just enjoy the fact that you just let me kind of throw darts at the board, and you're like, maybe she'll hit the bullseye. And in our case, it was like, ping. I was like, I did it the first time. I'm not going crazy. I was paying attention. Because I know I can go on tangents and be scatterbrained.
Well, I think that's why it works, though. You know what I mean? It's like I it is. I feel like, especially like when I'm talking to you or I'm talking to Rowan, and we're getting into like the fine details of things, of like what needs to be in certain scenes, what needs to be in certain shots, what just the essence of a scene is, like what it all means, like what the point of it all is. It is like, and the way that we talk, they're not like structured discussions. It's all very just like we just sit on a Zoom call, and whatever thought comes in, we're just like, I have this thought. I'm now going to tell them what it is. I hope it sticks. Like, I hope and even though I wrote it and like we're all talking about it, when we all talk and when I get to hear from your guys' perspectives and you bring your art and your expertise to it, it brings out new things in me and things that are within the piece that I had, you know, hadn't even considered. And I think that comes from the whole waves. It's like we just throw all these ideas at ourselves, and eventually it'll all come back down and recede like a wave, and then we'll be left with something, and we're like, that's it. That's
Yeah, like that's what we want.
yeah.
That's what we need. And I just, I'm so looking forward to when we can finally start shooting. And
Me too.
right. You probably more than I. And I hate saying that because generally I'm like, the jack it up, let's go.
Well, I think everyone's excited to. I mean, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to write something that would get people excited to like go
Right.
back and do something. You know.
Also, there's so many layers in the piece. And I want to preface that for anyone who's watching, like, and I myself, I even had to call myself on it during this whole like pandemic of like, Lauren, you really can't talk shit about someone's piece up there because that can be their passion piece. It might not be the best quality wise, but like they gave their all for that. But going back to what I was saying about this, there's just so many layers there of like, okay, is there a fear? Is there a love? Is there jealousy? Is there this epiphany of, okay, wait, I need to reevaluate how I'm treating others? But wait, like you're saying, this was it recession of like, oh, wait, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to, like, there's those moments in this piece that it's just so captivating to me. And I understand now more that I've had the experience of reading through various scripts and being like, man, this isn't gonna suit me,
Mm-hmm.
or this isn't really like triggering my ticker, but it's gonna pay the bills. And then there are those ones where it's just like, damn, wait, I need to go back and reread this. There we go. That's what I need to preface to people. Like the importance of going back and rereading before you actually start shooting, because there's so many things and elements that start popping out that you're like, damn, I didn't notice that the first time, and I keep bringing up this pen. But I'm just trying to get my point across. Like, I did not notice that. I need to underline it. I need to highlight it. Like, oh, that's what the director, that's what the scriptwriter was talking about. Let me see if I can elaborate on that visually. How can my movements of the camera or my static and stillness invoke this mindset in my audience? And how can I help? And I really am starting to get more into audio now, but like, how can I help my sound mixer like propel this emotional development further. And I just really love that about our piece coming up. And I'm just like, and the fact that we want to pay it forward, and I don't know if you've mentioned that in previous podcasts, but just being like, hey, okay, like, of course I want to be that person who's like, I'm going to shoot every single fucking episode. I'm going to shoot it all. Right. But like, part of the fun is just collaborating with other people and being like, oh, you were thinking that would be a really good high angle shot. I didn't think of that. I was thinking just a standard static, and then we just go into a 2, we go into a single, but you're thinking maybe we should have this as a completely high angle shot all the way through. And where we're just catching the bare, brim of the eyelids until they look up and they're just trying to release whatever anxiety that they're having in this conversation. Wink, wink. I don't know if it's thinking of anything or a certain scene, but like,
right. Yeah.
These are the things that it's just, I tell any beginning filmmaker, reread it. It's not talking about just killing your babies, because they say that sometimes you have to just kill the baby. Throw that script out, throw that idea out.
Yeah.
Not like a literal baby, but like that. But like, go back and reread it, because there's always something there that you're like, you'll surprise yourself by what you've provided. And I think like our conversation, to kind of loop this back to the root, I really think the conversation that you and I had, and you and I and Rowan had, and us on the production really had, that first call, I hope it was kind of like affirmation to you, like, damn, I wrote that. Like, damn, okay, I got people, I did not think of that, but damn, like, I wrote that. Like, I did put that emotional climax there. I did put that downfall there. So I hope this is, invoking some positive vibes your way.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I think I knew that, I knew that the people that I was going to go to with the piece were not going to accept it unless it was good. You know what I mean?
That is true. That's great.
And right. And they would not, knowing that they know me, they knew that whatever I was going to do, I was going to try to really make something that I thought was, engaging and captivating in a very weird and twisted way. It was writing it was very emotional. Um, Actually, maybe emotional is not the right word. It was very humbling to write it, because I wrote most of it during the intensive lockdown, like in March and April was when I really got into it. And it was just, and a lot of it was, I was looking at myself. I hate to admit that I'm like any of the characters that are in Niobe, because so many of them are terrible. They're like kind of awful individuals. But I, and maybe other writers will disagree with this. Maybe this isn't what other writers do at all, but I think that there has to be some element of me within these characters.
Yeah.
And I knew that as long as I stayed true to the dilemma that I was feeling inside and projected that through these characters and let them just be a vessel for that, and let the plot of the story organically come forth from that, from my own perspective, that I would have something that people would respond to And it's, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it is very affirming to hear you say that it was that impactful. You know, obviously that's every writer and director like secretly wants to hear that. They're like, oh my God, it worked. It really worked. Oh my gosh.
I fooled them all. And they like,
We fooled them. Yeah.
yeah.
But also another thing that I want to touch upon, because we're talking about this, and what you said about as the cinema as the cinematographer looking back through the script again several times to get what you want out of it. I wrote 22 drafts of like the Niobe episodes.
That's not a bad thing. I mean,
No, I'm not critiquing that. I think that was a good thing. What I'm saying is, and to go off of your point, is that and this I guess is advice I'm giving to someone who I guess who would consider themselves a writer director, is like, or someone who's just a writer. Look at your script so many times to the point in which you know that you're no longer bullshitting yourself about anything.
yes. Yes.
You know, because we all know as writers, the first draft, you're going to be bullshitting a lot.
Yep.
Because you're easing yourself into the story, you're easing yourself in what these characters actually mean, what they mean to you, what they mean to an audience. So you're kind of bullshitting it. You're kind of like, okay, I'm throwing this out here, seeing if it sticks, seeing if this scene really means what I think it means. And then, of course, a scene will mean one thing, and then you'll realize later in another draft, oh no, this scene really means this. This is really the dominant, purpose or the dominant emotion that's connected to the scene. I got to make sure that resonates. And so you just rake away the bullshit little by little, and eventually you hope that by the time a collaborator, a producer, or your DP sees it, most if not all the bullshit is gone.
Of course.
And
of course. And it was so funny you say that, because I remembered that.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I think that I will give myself credit in this regard. I think by the time that you got the scripts, and especially once they got into their like shooting form, it's not a lot of bullshit in it. It's pretty much like I'm just taking what I felt during moments in my life and during the lockdown and kind of like just slice that, give it a little thin slice and put it down there. I don't know if that analogy makes any sense.
But no, it's all good. I love it. I love a good like random ass analogy.
Yeah, I love random ass analogies.
But they make sense in the moment, and that's like, as artists, we have to verbally say some shit where you're like, somebody's gonna pick it up and get it. But it sounds like to me you had a therapeutic awakening while you were writing this.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely therapeutic. Writing this script taught me, or well, I guess it illuminated in myself that I was depriving myself of a healthy relationship. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
And I realized through writing this script that and I know because people don't know what Niobe's about, and we're trying to be very like, non-spoiler about this, that I don't want to really go in depth, but the main character is a person who doesn't know really how love works, doesn't really know what, right, understatement of the century. But once I finished, like I was pretty much like finished up with like the writing process of it, I should have realized it sooner as I'd gotten into the writing, but I realized just like how much of the writing was basically me just saying back to myself, man, get out of your own fucking way and just like remember how to love again.
Yeah.
How to do that. And it wasn't too long after that I met my current girlfriend. And I realized like I just had to get out of my own way.
Good.
in that regard. So when people say like, is writing therapeutic? I think it definitely can be.
Oh, of course.
You want it
Everyone's
to
like,
be.
of course. I just, it's so funny that you touched on that because this climate that we're in, it really just forces us to see, what we've been avoiding this whole time. Like, and it doesn't matter who you are, like where you are, if you're in the fucking 1%, if you're in the 99.9999%, like whatever it is, like we are all having at one point or another to look at ourselves in the mirror for an extended period of time and be like, well, fuck, what do I want? Like I'm watching more and actually, I've been looking at a lot of these like interviews. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, here, let me see, like, what has this celeb said since they've been like in this quarantine, in this pandemic? And a lot of them, for instance, who is it? Damn, who's it? How you're gonna totally cuss me out after I think of this man's name? Chris Evans. Hot damn.
Chris Evans, Captain America himself.
Yes, yes. Oh, would love to meet him. Here, fun fact for you before I
Wait,
go
you
back
got
to
to
my
meet him?
note here. No, I have not gotten to meet him. However, a couple of, if you go to his website, he has a political platform called the Starting Point. Now, I've been watching this and I've been keeping an eye on this since I've been working with AL prior when I was working with them and I was kind of hearing like, oh, he's supposed to be making something here. Quite a few of the people he's interviewed, I won't say who, but quite a few, I actually produced things for them that might help you if you're wondering. But it's a bipartisan platform, but just watching his interviews as a person and them just talking about like, hey, where are they at? And just previously what they were saying. But I was just hearing him and a couple other celebrities, male and female, are just now like, I'm really thinking about wanting a family. And there are these people who are just like, you would think, shit, you got it all, got a rock solid body, got a nice dog, got a damn house, you got 5 cars, you got what, more money than over 20, if not 50% of the population. What more could you want? But just like these little simple things that we tend to take for granted. And there was a really good, I think it was a Goldcast like video, but it was just talking about how until we, like us as humans, we're flawed, but until something occurs that is like life changing, life threatening, we start to forget about the little moments that make up our lives and why they are what they are until that occurs. And
Mm-hmm.
like right now with this pandemic, and you talking about, I need to get the fuck out of my way. I feel like this pandemic is one of those like everyone's getting punched in the damn face, like, fuck, what have my priorities been like? That, or it's like, man, my priorities have been this, and this is what I'm having to reap now when things aren't like what they used to be. Because I
Right.
was just, wheeling and dealing. But like myself included, just saying, hey, I love my art, I love what I do, but I need to shoot more. Like that was really what I learned from working with AL. And it was like, man, pay me good. Yeah, I can say I'm working with some pretty high profile individuals, but like, am I doing what I love? This is a great skill, so I know how to communicate with Danielle. Because let's be honest, you know me. I'm gonna be pushing that damn budget y'all have and be like, can I get this? No.
Oh yeah,
Can I
no.
try for
Well,
this?
I mean, that's like our next thing. We're talking about like what, how are we raising this money? Where are we getting this budget from?
Right. But you know me, I'm gonna be like, but can I have this? And then Danielle's gonna be like, Lauren, if you can find a way, and I'll be like, find a way.
Find a way. That's the easiest part. You just need to go ahead. The find the way isn't the hard
Yeah. But it just really made me realize how therapeutic like you were saying with writing, being a writer, director, or director and writer, like how therapeutic being a cinematographer is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing these different angles and seeing these different lives and recording these intimate moments that so many people are taking for granted. It's like, oh. So this pandemic, I feel, has been a curse yet a blessing for the world because, you know, if you believe in global warming, everybody's been inside. Is the earth healing itself? Maybe just a little bit. You know, like
Yeah.
just check out the weather patterns. But it's just, it's wonderful how art is that medium that everyone relies upon. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of the form, it's like it could be music, it could be cinema, it could be shoot painting, all these different things, and just people are like, I need to get into that.
I mean,
I don't
life
know.
is not, I don't care if you're a creative person or not, life is not enjoyable without art.
How would you even like express yourself?
Right. What would you even do? Just work all day in the fields? Like that's literally what life is then. You just or work at a computer.
I think of
Why do you think when like people who I'm sorry, but like when people work at cubicles all day, what is the first thing they want to do when they go home? They want to watch Netflix. The
I've been
first
there.
thing that they want to do. I've been there. I've been there too. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what that's like.
You're like, do I have to do this? Oh, like the best part is stepping out of that cubicle. And the worst part is then rushing to it because you know you're late because you were like, I shouldn't have watched that last fucking Sean Connery movie last night
I
until
had to.
4 a.m.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, no, that was a hellish existence. That office job. I'm gonna be complaining about that office job many times after this, but yeah, I guess just to like, I don't know what you've been talking about has really been hitting me, and like it's kind of like I guess if what you're doing isn't therapeutic, it can't be your passion.
Right. But also, and what was it? It was actually, I'm watching, we haven't finished it, but I think it was called Freaks. It might be a Spanish film. It's on Netflix, but it has like English dubbing.
Yeah,
But this one guy said, you know what? Like, fucking at least 80% of the population hate what they do and they half ass it. However, he said it, and I was like, I had to sit on that because I was like, damn, that is so true that like 80% do not fully strive for what they're passionate about and they're content with being unhappy. And I just think, I'm like, I don't want to be in that. Like, I don't want to be in that.
that's why like starving and like not having a lot of food is fine as long as I'm writing. You know what I mean?
Right. I
You know what I'm
do.
saying?
I do. What's how I feel about shooting? I'm like, my feet ache, but I'm shooting.
Right. Yeah, no.
I can do
Totally.
this.
It's and I think that well, and I think that's the difference. Like I feel like some people would be like, I think some people definitely have a like a safety complex, like they have to feel secure and stable. Otherwise it's just too much for them. And that's I think that's why those are the people I feel like who genuinely love those kind of jobs
Right.
because that fuels them. They're like, okay, I know that I'm going to work and I know what my tasks are. I know I'm going to do this and it's going to be fantastic. It's so great because I can predict it and like that's fantastic. And then they would look at say someone who's going for something that's a little, that at first is a little less stable. It's well, I mean, your schedule is more in a funk, like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's always a gamble. It's always like a, maybe not. That, I think someone who has that mindset, who has that safety complex, would just be like, there's no way that's worth it. How could
Right.
that be worth it?
Right.
And
And then there's
I can get
okay.
it. And then there's the other person. There's the other type of person.
Right. Then there's a select few who are like, I don't fucking like my job, but it pays enough because I love to travel. Like I know that person who's like an accountant, they're like, I'm decent at it. I get paid well, because I'm an accountant. Like who the hell wants to be an accountant? It's basic. But they love to travel. And right
Right.
now they're like, you know what? I have to be an accountant from home. I'm gonna go rent a damn RV
Mm-hmm.
for 2 weeks and work for my RV and travel the US because they couldn't travel abroad. And I'm like, you find a way to still do what you love.
Uh,
But what does Yoda say?
Yoda? Who's
There's no
calling
such thing
Yoda?
as trying. No, yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, it's fuck. It's the whole, yeah. You basically said it was like, do or do not. There is no try. Either do that shit.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, that's all life is. That is all life is. So either you're gonna try fucking 100% or you're not gonna try 100%. Like right now, I've been trying. I haven't been trying 100% or doing 100% to work out. But I realized the other day shooting this documentary, you love shooting, Lauren. Yo ass needs to work out.
Yeah.
What are you eating?
I'm sorry. I
I don't care.
salad,
Oh, he's so healthy, y'all. See? And I'm talking about over here not
balsamic,
working out.
olive oil. No, I mean that's the thing. I mean, it's just I just get so upset when, like, when I get busy and, like, with school or just art, my arts, and, like, then I'm just like, I don't go to, like, say, the gym. I went to the gym yesterday. It was fantastic. I loved it. Did some chest. It was phenomenal. Um, but I just feel like working out and getting some physical exercise has always been important. But the fact that, like, we're at home right now, my lifestyle feels too sedentary for me.
Right.
It
That's
just
the thing.
feels too, and I feel like even though I'm eating decent food, I'm not burning it off. You know,
Feel you.
and
I truly, truly understand. Like and you know how I was before the selection day or whatever the hell's going on, the selection week.
the
Like
what?
all I did was work and all I did was just sit there. I'm like, yeah, what do you need? Oh, I'm still working, you guys, while we're in this production meeting, but I'm gonna give 110%. 1 second, I'm gonna pretend like I have dinner. Like,
Oh, yes, yes.
so like just sitting here and having to stay inside. Like by no means, this is nothing like the depression, y'all. And I'm like, we can't really bitch when we're like, can everyone please stay inside with their computers and Netflix and just not talk to motherfuckers? Like, yeah, hell yeah, I can do that. But at the same time, too, I'm like, Lauren, you bought a damn salad bag and you're like, oh, here, I'm gonna eat this salad bag. But wait, you're only gonna eat a fourth of it today because you know you really want to go get that fucking veggie burger from Culver's with French fries. I'm like, oh,
I
really,
didn't know that
Lauren?
Culver's had veggie burgers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Kind of good though. Yeah,
Wow.
they have it. Oh yeah. I've tried all these crazy ass concoctions recently, and I'm like, okay, Lauren, you want to cook? Let's cook. And then I'm like, oh, homemade garlic mashed potatoes.
Yes. I
My
love
two,
I
I'm like,
love
no, let's do it. It's been horrible. And now I'm like, okay, Lauren, if you're wanting to film and you're wanting to do this, you gotta give a little bit more. Plus, my dog is just like, he realized the other day that my like work hours have gone down, and he's like, oh hell yeah, your ass is blocking me. He has been hitting that damn bell.
He's like, let's go.
He does. He literally hits it like that, and he's like,
Yeah.
bitch. And he looks back at me. He goes like, ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, gosh, let's go outside. I do. I've been cussing out my dog fairly regularly, and he just looks at me like, but mom, I love you. Walk me, ho. Like,
I can imagine. I mean, I've seen pictures of your dog, so I can imagine your dog saying that. I can imagine him just looking like, "What?"
walk me. He does. And I cussed him out the other day, and he just goes, "Row, row, row." So y'all know, so everyone knows, I have some dogs, and they all like to talk. I have Harlow in Illinois, and I have Orion here in Wisconsin. Orion is from Arkansas, and he has a southern grumble. And when I cussed him out the other day, he decided to go, and then he walked over and rang the bell. And he knows that I then have to get up, because if I don't, he's going to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to ring the bell. I'm going to grumble at you because I didn't ring the bell, and that's your rule. If I have an accident in the house, you can't be mad at me, because I really have been trying to do that. And I'm like, okay, can't be mad if he doesn't ring the bell, or if he rang the bell and I ignore it. So he's ding, 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 ding. And he's been getting on his back legs, and he literally knows how to like scale it, because there's like 3 pairs of bells. So he goes, ring, ding, ding.
Oh, that's so funny.
He is.
Like,
But I really missed it when he was just like higher than a kite. Y'all, my dog got attacked at doggy daycare. Fuck Koi. Fuck your owner. I don't give a fuck about you. That was the dog's name, and I
that
don't
was
know who the owner is. They attacked my baby. I wanted to burn the world.
I know you sent me pictures of that. Who was the dog's name? Who was the perpetrator?
So the perpetrator was Koi.
Coy.
Koi. How ironic is the name? Wasn't like
That's
no,
very ironic.
it was. So Koi
That's
attacked my
super
dog
ironic.
and went through his whole, like, I don't want to say like his lip, but however the muzzle was on one side, it went through. Got the stitches. He's in the ER, but he's been like higher than a kite prior to this. So I was able to work peacefully because he was so drugged. He didn't want to ring the bell. And we were like, oh, well, shoot. Okay. We can let him out in the morning. And because he's on meds, we can let him out in the afternoon. We can let him out at night. And he should be pretty good. We let him out about 4 times. As soon as this is over, dude's ringing the bell. Drugs are out of his system. And I'm like, damn. Trying to play my video game. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding ding ding. What video game are you playing right now?
Ghost of Tsushima?
What?
Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, 1 second. I can't say it. I'm gonna look this up. Oh, this is so bad. You can tell that I've actually been playing it, that I was like Googling what these kits mean. Boom. Loves it. Loves
Ghost
it.
of Tsushima.
Yeah. So that's what I'm playing. However, I was playing it on my boyfriend's PS4. He bought me my own. And then he tells me, well, you could log into mine, but I don't know how it's going to mess things up. So you're going to basically have to start all over. All the damn hard work that I've done.
Oh, I
I have to
hate
start
that.
over. It's okay though. I'm committed.
It's okay though. What's it about? The game. What's the story? Is there a story to it?
Oh, of course there's a story. It's like a free I don't know what they're called, like free play.
Yeah.
So you have certain things that you can do, but you can travel all the hell over.
Right.
Basically, this, I want to say it's like a Japanese island gets attacked. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm nerding out now. And you can tell we're probably getting tired because we're off a tangent. But I'm going to continue explaining my game.
Yeah. Continue. Like, I'm trying to find games to like get into, so this might be the
Play
one.
it. Like, this is the one because you can also play with multiple people if you get it and you have like the online thing.
Uh-huh.
But this guy, and I can't even remember his damn name, however, they end up starting off in a war. And the Mongols, or you could say kind of like, does everyone know what a Mongol is?
No, I don't. I don't know what
Well,
I'm going.
you could kind of say it's just like the older, and I don't want to say like the great Chinese empire, that kind of era, samurais, all of that. The
Oh, okay.
Mongols
Yeah.
were like
Yeah.
the Chinese Vikings. They came over to this island that he lives on and they're trying to take over. But it starts off in this war, and one man gets burned to death. And then this battle starts, and he gets knocked and pushed over a bridge. And this is where you start like free play traveling and whatnot and getting skills. And I had just gotten lightning bolt or thunder, whatever the hell it is, bow and arrows. And now my boyfriend's like, oh, love you, bitch, but you got to start your own game after you just got like all these level ups and these new stances. But I'm going to keep playing with you. However, I'm going to make you start from the beginning again after you got me all these tools. And I'm like,
No. No.
it's okay though, because I'm going to start over. I'm going to start new. I'm going to do a different little path. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit like some type of way. Got loads of armor, all the stuff, and I'm just like, now I'm just getting to the fun part.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing with like video games, especially with those kind of video games, like those, what do they call those? Free form
Are they
video
free play? Something like that.
free
Where you
play.
can travel around.
Like when you're just playing from a character's point of view and you can take multiple direction, like there's multiple ways you can do the video game. I I'm just like, whenever I do those games, it takes me, when I have done it, it takes me so long to get like established in the game, in the universe. Like that's half the battle, is just like getting yourself established. And for some reason people like doing that. I don't like that aspect of it. I like when things get like fun and like so to hear you be like, I did the hard work. Like I did the kind of like, yeah, whatever part of the video game. And then you were just like, yeah, start over. Yeah, do that all again.
Right. And it took so fucking long because I was
How are you
ready. I
two
was just
still
like,
together is my
I can
question.
go travel. Overtalked. I'm sorry. What were we saying? I
No,
just appreciate
I
you.
made a joke. How are you guys still together?
I'm telling you, I've threatened his life every other day, y'all. I love him, but I've threatened his life every other day. Told him he and the dog could get the hell out. I told him that the other day because the dog had rang
You
the
and
bell
the
again.
dog. Get the hell out of here.
Yes, because every time I going back to my lovely Orion, my Bubba, my baby, I love him. But he picks and chooses when he wants to ring that bell, and it is always when Russ is going to the bathroom. So he's not able to take him to the bathroom because all of a sudden he goes, "Ding," and he looks back at me, and I can hear Russ in the bathroom because we have three, and this one is just in the main hallway, and he's laughing. He's like, "Oh, you rang the bell. You better hurry up." And I'm like, "You're only doing like number one." Sorry, y'all, TMI moment, but I'm just like, you can open that door. You can finish what you're doing. You can take him out. Like, why do I have to? No, I was just over here trying to pay bills.
Yeah. I was just trying to do some important shit here. You just like had to do your normally bodily functions that literally last for like 5 minutes tops. Let's be real here. It's not an ordeal to do it. It's not.
It's not like I'm, as y'all have probably been aware now in this podcast, like I'm actually focused on something outside of film. And my dog is like, here, let me break your concentration now. Ding, 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 ding. And
I I
smacks his
love
tail.
the idea of your dog being this like malicious like devil and just being like.
He does it. I'll have to see if I can record it because he does it all the damn time. And I'm just like, and then he whacks it when he gets mad and you need to hurry up.
Oh, oh, damn! He's got an attitude. He's like, hey,
He
enough
does.
of this shit. Let's go.
He does. Like today, Russ and I were play fighting, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm getting in his face and stuff. All of a sudden, Orion does a full blown, gets up on his back legs and pushes me away. And I'm like, every time we try to wrestle, they gang up on me. And I'm like, Orion, help me gang up on him. And he's like, one lick on the cheek here. Oh, hey, mom, I'm all up in your face. And I'm like, I thought you were supposed to help me.
No, well, I think you're his favorite. I think that he's just giving all the he wants you to walk him. He wants your attention. He doesn't care for Russ's attention. At least that's what it seems like.
Oh, but whenever Russ is in the kitchen, he's right there, sitting outside of it, like, wait. He's like the savior.
Russ is the
That's a
savior.
whole nother. Oh yeah, like he only wanted to spend time with Russ after he had his emergency room visit, even though I was the hoe who took him to the emergency room. Like I was the one who wanted to burn down the world. And I went straight to him when I had to pick him up after this dog attack. And I was the one who had to wait for the damn 7 hours or whatever he was there. And then I come out and I'm like, wait, I have to finish sending this work email. And he was just like, nope, I only want him. And I'm like, he didn't take you. I took you.
He didn't do it.
He didn't do shit. And Russ is just laughing. He's like, I never expected him wanting to be around me like this. I'm like, you know what? He's doing this shit intentionally. I don't care if he's under the influence or not. A drug mind speaks what the sober mind thinks, and that fucking dog drugged. He just wanted him.
I'm sorry. Back up. What's the saying? A drugged up mind. No, you gotta say it. I can't.
Okay, so the real saying is the drunk mind speaks what the sober mind thinks. Okay, so
Oh,
you're
okay.
drinking, but
Yeah.
I said the drugged mind speaks what the sober mind thinks with my dog. Because
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. I think I misheard you, but no, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, no, I
I
said,
definitely said things I've deeply regretted after drinking, being under the influence of alcohol.
yeah, you can play it back. I probably said it the way you were laughing at because I've been saying some wild things recently, like some real wild things.
Well, I
Talking about
mean,
being, oh, go ahead.
no, well, it's just like shit's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, just
people
like funny things.
like what?
You know how you just thinking you're just like, well, you're tired of writing and you're irritated. Sorry, y'all, this is about to be censored. Cuss words are coming out.
Oh
So I was
shit!
like,
Yes, fuck. Let's do it.
I was really tired of writing, and I was like, man, go fuck a snake. I'm tired. Just random. I kid you not. I'm sitting on the couch, and Russ
Love
looks
that.
over at me, and he's like, "Did
Don't
you really
fuck a
just?"
snake. I'm tired. I'm gonna say that. That's so good. I'm gonna say I'm gonna make sure that because my girlfriend's coming over tomorrow, and I'm make sure she doesn't watch this. And I'm gonna say that. I'm like, "Ah." Like she's gonna say, "Oh, we need to do this." I'm like, go fuck a snake. I'm so tired.
I'm mad because it was just like I should probably give some context to this. So when I said it,
But there was no context needed. But if you want to give it,
I'm just saying, in this point, like I was just irritated with a particular person That was a previous coworker of mine that was in the accounts, and he was just constantly sending edits. And I was just thinking in my head, but it came out. And Russ literally just looked at me. He's like, "Did you really just fucking say that? Like, where's this coming from?" And I'm like, he could just go do that and leave me alone. I'm saying some like, wow, that shit. But that was one of them. Let's go fuck a snake. Like, just do anything but bug me with something. Because I'm tired. I'm just tired. So.
And your way of manifesting that frustration was
verbally saying it.
go fuck a snake. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. I just verbally said it. Not saying that I really was trying to say that to him, but I was just like, you know how people like I use cuss words in random variations.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I cuss more when I'm talking to like, you know, when I'm in like meetings with like filmmakers, with other collaborators. I cuss way more than I do in just normal existence because I just feel like, yeah, you know what? You know, this emotion, like this character, he's so fucking awful, and we love it. It's great. You're just like, fuck, man.
Yeah, a lot of word vomit.
Well, it's just like what we were talking about earlier. It's like when like you can, I feel like I can just like, you can literally say whatever, like you can describe what you're feeling or what you're thinking however you want, and the other filmmaker will just be like, yeah, totally, duh, bitch, I got you, yeah.
Clicks.
And you're just like, how does that fucking work? Like I just talked out of my ass for like 15 minutes, and I remember like in like a meeting with me, you and Rowan, and I was just like, I felt like I was talking very deeply about like the tonality of the piece, of just the series as a whole. And I felt like I was talking for like 15 minutes straight, and then I stopped and I looked at both of you on the Zoom screen, and you guys are like, yeah, okay, all right. And I was just like, that made any of that made sense? Like, what was that? What?
I forgot what I said, but I'm glad we recorded it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we recorded that because I felt like we were getting so abstract.
Great.
It was great. Rowan loved that, and I just thought, man, what a great
Rowan?
It was. What?
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just wondering where the fuck's Rowan?
What do you mean, where the fuck is Rowan?
Doesn't Rowan sometimes pop on these things?
Rowan was my first guess. Did you think that Rowan was like gonna be like here on the show?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Rowan is not like the co-host. She was just like the first guest. Maybe she should though, or maybe they should. I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong pronouns. They should do that.
I don't know. I just say Rowan. I'm just say Rowan.
I think that all the three of us should do a show.
I'm just wondering. Damn. Plus, every time Rowan's on here, we just say something fucking crazy. I think it's because we all embrace our ass squeaking.
Yes.
Because it just comes out and we're like, oh, that sounded so weird. Yes, we just embrace our ass squeaking. You know, we talk out of our asses and we're all just like, it squeaks, it works. Someone's picking it up. See what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes there are things that you have to talk about, and sometimes there are no words for it. You just have to describe it the best way that you can, and you hope that because all of our personalities mesh, that we'll be able to get somewhere with it.
Yes.
I think, yeah, and that's.
See, this is why y'all collaboration is so key, because he totally just paraphrased whatever the hell I vomited out. We make sure that everyone is well aware of the situation. I promise y'all, I am not like this in work meetings. I'm very much studious with my team. in my paper.
No. You take notes like nobody's business, and you ask all the best questions like nobody's business. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easy to work with you because I know that you have to pick collaborators who you trust with your life to shepherd your baby. And like whenever I'm talking with you, Rowan, Danielle, anybody who's on the team that I know well and I've worked with before, I'm like, there's no fear in that.
Of course, push back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're concerned about it, shit, turn around. You'll see the knives in our hands. Preferably though, I like axes.
You like what? You're like
Axes? I was just being crazy, okay? I'm just
I know,
saying we have your back, all right?
we've definitely reached the point in the show where we're just kind of like I feel lighter than air. I felt like I've run a marathon today.
I feel you.
It's been a great marathon. Like I'm happy I did it, but it is a marathon nonetheless.
If you ever want to talk anything technical, let me know. I'm more than welcome to, or welcome, wow, I'm welcoming myself. More than willing to come back. I highly suggest to everyone, I'm looking at you through the camera, I'm looking at you on the screen. Check out Dolly Parton's documentary.
Why? Just curious. Why?
Well, fucking Dolly Parton is dope, number one. Duh. If you don't like Dolly, you're dumb as fuck. Because there's a song out there that she probably wrote that somebody else did a remake to, and you're like, oh, she wrote it? Dolly Parton's dope as fuck. Number two, I was just very surprised. It was very well done with the music as well as archive footage and B-roll, stock B-roll.
Okay.
I would say check it out.
Is it just called the Dolly Parton? Like, what's the title?
Let me see. Documentary. Dolly Parton, Here I Am.
Dolly
It's on
Parton.
Netflix. Check it out. It's just good. Plus, it's like, you know how sometimes you watch a documentary and you're like, okay, I'm going to learn something from this. I feel like I want to learn today. This was just like, you were playing some music and you're like, damn, Dolly, let's go. Bounce through the whole damn thing.
I need to, before I let you go, I need to ask you this question. Why do you do what you do? And why specifically cinematography? What is it about capturing the image or capturing the showrunner, director, whoever, their vision through the camera, through the visual image? Why is that everything to you?
That is a wonderful question.
I know it's
going to be a little long for my answer. No, I have the answer as soon as you ask me. It's a long one. To sum it up, at one point or another, everyone kind of felt, I mean, in general, I personally believe at one point or another, every filmmaker felt as though their image couldn't be seen due to someone else's belief, or they didn't believe in themselves that this image couldn't be done. However, in my particular situation, and also with the climate that's going on in the world, this is before woke nation, you know how I like to say that, but before all of this came to a head, I originally started in theater. I did a theater audition, had just gotten off of having walking pneumonia. So it wasn't the best vocal singing wise that I could have done. However, acting wise, spot on, great. Although at the end of it, there was an agent. This was like an Illinois national audition that I did, the showcase for these people. Came up to me and they said, "You are very talented. However, you're too dark. You're hard to light. I don't really see many roles for you." And that kind of just clicked in my head because before I came and I'm doing what I am doing now, I was like vice president over a theater company. I'd taken over from someone else, but I was very close with the president of this theater company, an entire theater company. And I was just shocked. And I said, when this light bulb kind of went off, I said, okay, well, fuck you. Fuck it. Because ultimately, every damn actor wants to be on the screen. So I ended up applying to DePaul University, trying to get into their directing program. That did not happen, unfortunately, because there was something that happened with my paperwork. And then they said, oh, you were missing stuff. And I'm like, I submitted everything you asked, as well as I had been trying to call. And this was before the pandemic, all this other crazy stuff with phone mishaps and whatnot. I didn't get all the documents there on time. So they said, hey, we'll still accept you into the like MS program instead of an MFA for film and television. The concentrations are sound, cinematography, and like editing or post production. I was like, well, shit, I'll go into cinematography. I love taking pictures. Best fucking thing that ever could have happened to me. I'm always about, embracing the unexpected and taking advantage of any and every moment that I can because I don't know when I'll have that ever again or it'll be my last moment. I'll just sum it up there. But when I got into cinematography and then it was like, well, fuck. They even say it in the manuals. You can read it in most camera manuals. And I think I told you this in the class that they even say in these camera manuals, Caucasian skin, white skin, in regards to color balancing, in regards to histograms, scopes, and all this. We can talk about that later if y'all want, but we were always studying and looking at all of these European white Anglo-Saxon, whatever you want to call it, like visuals. And I'm like, there's something missing there. And there's something wrong because we're a nation built of a vast spectrum of colors. And it always took me back, especially now where I am. I'm like, I can't even fucking remember that agent or whoever they were, director, telling me that I was too dark to light. But what I do remember is the emotion that I had and that emotional moment that I had then. But now being able to say, shit, I run that camera. And I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that everyone who is in my frame looks the best that they can, regardless of their skin, regardless of their size. So that's why I'm so avid and I love working as a cinematographer. It was because if someone told me no, and they told me no about a trait that I can never change. So, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that definitely.
Sorry, that was kind of like.
No, that was really fucking beautiful. Yeah, no, I did not know that story. I do remember though. You always, when we were in class, when I was your student, you always, whenever we talk about lighting or composition or anything like that, you always made a point to be like, okay, there's many different ways to light people. Lighting someone of a lighter skin tone or a darker skin tone requires different things. How are we going to do that? So you made the idea of being inclusive in what we film, who we film, as part of the curriculum. And I think that's, I mean, in a way, that's the biggest FU you could have given to that agent, is like then going into the film education system and showing people like, oh, you know what? Fuck that ideology. Fuck that way of thinking.
I can't wait for that motherfucker to watch my film. I
I
can't
know
wait for him to see
it's
this
gonna be so
fucking
phenomenal.
series. I'm so excited. Like, y'all don't understand.
Um, Cam, that was, I don't know what else can be said after that. Thank you for that. For
Anytime.
that. Yeah.
Anytime. So,
Um, I do because I feel like I have an obligation to ask you this as well. It's because I have you here. What are the technical things that cinematographers need to know? And what's the fastest way to learn that?
fuck. Besides just getting out there and shooting and failing, it's okay to fail. And it's not a failure, it's a learning lesson on how not to do something. I think that's huge. Besides that, just I think people think that the film industry, you don't have to read anymore. You don't have to do these certain things. Like you need to pick up the manual first off, but you also just need to educate yourself on the general concepts of the exposure triangle. If you
Oh,
remember ISO, shutter.
it's important to know, but also fuck that shit. Yeah, no,
Yeah, like it is. But the thing is, it's just experimenting, and that's when we go back to this inclusiveness because one way isn't always the right way, and one way isn't always the best way, and we've all seen it time and time again how someone will come up with one idea and then there's a whole new collaborator that comes in and they're like, wait, that makes sense. However, what if we did this tweak to it? And you're like, just like fucking Cheetos. All of a sudden, somebody was like, you know what? I need to make these bitches spicy with cheese. Like, hot Cheetos. Like, something
Great
like that. But for like camera, it's it's just getting out there and shooting. And if you can't afford a camera, take advantage of your smartphone. There are apps out there. There are YouTube videos. I mean, I still watch YouTube videos like fuck here, prime time. I got a slide pod today, you guys. I have no fucking clue how to use it. But guess what? Got my manual out and I'm
What
reading it.
what is that supposed to do?
This,
Yeah.
it is a monopod, but also it is a motorized slider. So this little section here is able to move out about 11 inches. It's not huge, but this is just giving you those nice, smooth camera movements, and you can change it in various ways, as well as with the version that I have here. Pardon, I could then get a gimbal, and then I could start doing some of those twisting. Like, you see them all the time in the automotive commercials where they're like, ooh, let's look inside the interior and make you think it's super hella cool. You can do that with this. But it's also with a DSLR. I say that too because people assume that you need to buy these super hella expensive ass pieces of equipment, and that's not necessary. I got this for 470 some bucks today, which I know some people's money is tight, but like I got this because I'm shooting with a DSLR, which I also need to talk to my director here about, hey, maybe because of the climate that we're in, we try to take a new perspective on the equipment that we use, not saying that we lose any luster quality, but we can best put the materials elsewhere. And because I'm a documentarian now, and have always been, but right now, shoot, this is on. I want to clock myself 1 second.
That's a
I
cool
think I
thing.
did it. Like, this can get into small nook places. And I'm like, oh, saves me time, saves me energy, and not having to carry so much. But back to just being a beginner cinematographer. Watch movies. Like, watch them, see what they do. And the really big important concept that people tend to forget is just because it's lit, the part that honestly really attracts us the most are the dark sides, so the shadows. That's where you start getting this depth. And like myself included, I'm like, man, I really need to start playing with shadows more. And like, for instance, you can see here around me, like there's a shadow that shifts, but it's like, what does that do to enhance this moment in the frame? So don't just pay attention to all the flashing lights, pay attention to how the shadows are affecting this character's emotional state. And fucking read your manual
Read
and
those
just learn the
goddamn.
basics.
Just read those goddamn manuals.
I know, it really sucks. I hate to say that because I even was like, oh, gosh, do I have to read this? But if you want to play with it and you want to play with it right and you want your shit to look good,
Yeah.
either if you're trying to be a DP and you just want to be a DP, you get yourself a fucking bomb ass AC. And that's like assistant camera. But also, you have to know that in order to get respect, you got to give it. So don't just think because you can afford that person does not mean that they'll necessarily have respect for you and the role that you're in.
Yep. Just
Knowledge is
because
power.
you have the experience or the accolades or the talents doesn't mean their respect is required. Yeah. Wow. Well, my friend, this has been awesome. This has been dope. This has
I'm
been
sorry, mine's long.
no, well, I mean, I think this might be our longest episode, and what a phenomenal, time we've had. I just am so grateful for it. All I can say is thank you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your inspiration, your experience. It's been really great to listen. I just myself, I've just been dope to listen to this.
It's anytime you have one life to live. So why always live it in fear?
Yes. You
And
can't
if you,
create. Can't create in fear.
right, as well as my thoughts are, if you can't lay down at night and be okay with yourself, then something's wrong. Because ultimately, like, no one else can be in your body. Like, you have to live in that space. And as what's his name used to say, no regrets.
I don't remember who said that, but that's good words to live by.
No, I'm talking about whatever that stupid ass movie is where the guy spelled regrets wrong. No regrets.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, but definitely live your think about your own mortality. I think that helps you out a lot if you're like having problems motivating yourself. It's like once you really accept it, like, oh, there's a finite quality to this life, makes it a lot harder to waste it.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I have to say these few notes, okay? There's a story out there about a man who was pricked in the finger, okay? Stuck in a dark room, and they said he had a huge gash and he thought he was bleeding, and they just dripped water to see how he reacted after he had this cut that he didn't know. It was very small, but a cut, but you hear this drip, and he thought it was his blood. They found him the next morning dead. It's about your mindset.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the state of mind, there's so many things that are powerful there. Also, I want to mention to you, you can do it. Because if my crazy ass can do it, you can definitely do it. First year grad school, I lived out of state and I commuted regularly. This is how bad, like, again, it's about harmony. What are you willing to give up to get what you really want? I lived out of state, you could do it. I was tested for Parkinson's in the past. Come to find out, it was just because I had such a bad reaction to a medication. But again, mindset. There's a will, there's a way. Truly believe it. Quit idolizing these fucking actors when really who you're idolizing and who you're passionate and you love about who they are is who they portray. For instance, Will Smith in 7 Pounds. Fucking Captain America, it's his characteristics that attract you. Even though he is an attractive man, and I'm just gonna say Chris Evans, for instance, but like it's the characteristics. And Thor, it's his characteristics. Motherfucker goes to the gym. If you want that shit, you gotta work to get that shit. That's what I'm saying. It's possible. Buck the fuck up or shut the fuck up. That's what I gotta say.
Is this a motivational conference that we're at? I mean, I feel ready to take on the world right now. I feel like, oh shit, I gotta go. I feel like I ran a marathon. Now I want to run another marathon.
No, you're supposed to run your ass to fucking bed and then wake up and run the marathon again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. Okay,
Yeah.
these fucking 1%ers, and I say this to myself too. I'm starting to write affirmation, little sticky notes. We all only have 24 hours in a fucking day. So quit thinking that they have an extra 75.
Right.
We all only have 24 hours.
I will also say this on that. I saw this really great Instagram post, and nothing to do with film, but it was basically like people when they look at extraordinary people, people like to deem those people as inherently insanely special because it makes them feel less bad about not fully going for something, not fully throwing themselves out there. So when you see someone do something extraordinary, don't let your mind go to that place where, well, you know what, he just had all these advantages and he was just wickedly smart. And that's most extraordinary people start off not knowing what the fuck they were doing, but they had a mindset of learning something new every day and then building up a skill over time. And then you see what they're doing now. You're just seeing the end result.
Yep.
God, we're just dropping all these golden nuggets. It's
Right.
all these fantastic little golden nuggets.
Really?
I hope people are taking notes when they watch this.
I hope so. And just so everyone knows too, that coffee that people talk about that's so amazing is really just fucking shit.
Wait, are you talking about like candy coffee?
Huh?
Like candy coffee, like the
No, I'm talking about that. It's whatever little espresso shot. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna look it up.
I guess.
Oh shit. It's like one of the most expensive cups of coffee and it's supposed to be like the best tasting. It's literally because it is eaten by a monkey and then shit out and they pick it up. Okay.
Wait. What?
All I have to say is one person's trash is another person's treasure. So again, either buck the fuck up or shut the fuck up. There is no do.
Wait, there is no
There
do.
is no
Try. There's no try. Do or do not, there is no try. You were trying to be Yoda, right? You were
Okay.
I gotta figure out what the whole monkey coffee thing is. I have no idea what that was.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Coffee.
When this video goes up, I'll post a link to whatever the coffee monkey thing is so that we all know. Like what?
Oh,
So
here we
you're
go. I
telling
found
me
it.
that the monkey eats something, takes a shit, and then that's the coffee?
Yeah, the process that it goes through. Here we go. That's the name of the coffee.
Kopi Luwak. That's
Yes.
Kopi, and then Luwak, Luwak.
And they say the world's most expensive coffee. It is made from poop.
Okay.
Price range is fucking ridiculous. About 100 to 600 per pound. For shit. And you know what that also tells you? You can make a whole lot of money processing shit. And we've all seen it on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever. Somebody might want to watch that bitch. And you can rake in the cash. Just don't forget to tithe and don't forget to give back. Pow.
Oh.
Get your ass to bed. You gotta study. You look so dragged, damn tired.
Do I? God damn it. I was hoping that I
No,
so
just like
giving
as it's
off this
gone
very
down.
energetic, youthful vibe. I guess you can see through the facade that I'm tired.
No, go to bed.
Oh my goodness, I just didn't want this to end because I mean the people need to hear this. But I think we gave them a lot of golden nuggets to simmer over tonight and the next morning. Um, I just want to say thank you. It is an inspiration to get to talk to you and to know you, to collaborate with you. This has been an amazing time. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed this. Um, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Goodbye for now.
having me.
Yes, yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to everyone. Bye, guys. See ya. See you later. Peace out.